Last time, I talked about the habit of people-pleasing that most people struggle with, as well as the negative impacts it has on our lives. I doubt I really need to tell you that people-pleasing ultimately is not good for you. I have a feeling that at least some of you realize this already. That said, even if this fact does not seem obvious to you, if you dig deep, you will realize the truth about this, and you will realize that people-pleasing does you more harm than good. If you want more background on this, by all means, listen to the talk about the plague of people-pleasing last time. But assuming that you are already familiar with the basics, in this talk, we will look at how you can deal with this negative tendency. So we talked about the what last time. Today, we will dig deeper into the how. You will discover a very simple yet effective framework for getting a handle on this harmful programming that is almost ingrained in most of us. Using the two simple methods that you will learn about in a bit will help you to not just curb your people-pleasing tendencies, but can even help you to overcome this negative mental programming altogether. Learning about how to override your people-pleasing tendencies can be extremely useful and can have a significant positive impact on your life. So I suggest you pay attention and approach this talk with an open mind, because even if what you learn here seems really simple, they work and work well when applied. So it really is in your best interest to pay attention today. Keep listening to learn more. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast, a bite-sized weekly podcast focused on empowering you to think better and upgrade your life. So let's talk about how you can deal with the harmful habit that is people-pleasing, and even about how you can reprogram your mind to uproot this negative habit from the source. Here's the thing about people-pleasing. It is an extremely common tendency or behavioral pattern. For many of you, it might seem like a compulsive and innate habit, ingrained even, and it might even be something you have practiced all your life. For many of you, this tendency will be second nature, and as such, can seem pretty much impossible to override. The good news, though, is that even if the habit of people-pleasing has been a core part of your programming all your life up to this point, you can still fight it and override it. Fighting this negative tendency isn't actually very complicated. In fact, there are two very simple things you can do over the coming days to fight and win against this harmful mental program. Here are the two simple things you can do. Number 1, introspection, and number 2, mindfulness. So let's look into introspection first. For those of you not familiar with this concept, introspection is the practice of observing your own thoughts. Awareness, as most of you know by now, is one of the most effective ways to override or overcome any negative tendencies you might have. After all, without having knowledge about an issue, you can't do anything about it. As such, awareness is a key part of the process of overriding your people-pleasing tendencies, and introspection helps you to create that awareness. So observing your own thoughts is an effective way to become aware of your negative thoughts and tendencies, and the easiest and most practical way you can do this is through journaling or writing down your thoughts. Meditation can also help, and is yet another way you can practice introspection. Now, on a side note, I've gone over these concepts quite a bit in my other talks in the past, so I won't go over them here again. But in case you need a refresher, I'll add a few links in the notes for you to check out. Now, as for introspection, here is what you need to take note of. When you improve your ability for being self-aware, it will become easier for you to notice any time you're taking part in the negative practice of people pleasing. The more aware you become, the easier it is for you to spot that tendency. So introspection is the first approach, the first strategy. Now, let's look at the second strategy for dealing with your negative habit of people pleasing, which is mindfulness. So introspection, as you just learned, is all about being inside your head and watching your own thoughts. It is all about dealing with the negative behavioral pattern of people pleasing from an internal side of things. Mindfulness, on the other hand, is all about being outside your head. This is all about dealing with the negative behavioral pattern of people pleasing from an external side of things. When you're being mindful, it helps you to get out of your head and become present in the moment. That, in turn, can help you to stop worrying about what others might think, or even stop you from indulging any need you might have for pleasing others. When you're focused on the now, it becomes harder for you to focus on your needs for people pleasing. Mindfulness, in that sense, is a readjustment of your focus. Being mindful shifts your focus to your present moment and away from that of pleasing others. And this will go a long way in helping you curb your need for pleasing others. You won't completely stop being a people pleaser by being mindful, at least not in the beginning anyway. But the more you practice mindfulness, the better you will get at overriding your people-pleasing tendencies. So don't expect miracles, but at the same time, the more you practice it, the better it will be for you and the easier it will get for you to deal with this. So start practicing being mindful if you want to stop being a people pleaser. So there you have it. The two simple yet effective ways for you to overcome your people-pleasing tendencies. Now, because of the way they function, I'm going to call this the in-out method for dealing with your negative tendency of people-pleasing. Introspection is about, focusing on everything that's going on inside you, while mindfulness generally is about focusing on things outside of you. So, in, out. Mindfulness is about getting out of your head, while introspection is all about digging deep inside your head. This in-out approach can be very effective in helping you tackle the negative tendency of people-pleasing. In fact, you can use this model or tools to deal with pretty much any negative tendency you have, not just people-pleasing. So you now have a valuable and effective framework that can help you in many areas of your life. Use it as you see fit. Here is a quick summary of what you have learned today. People-pleasing is a negative tendency that often becomes an ingrained part of our programming. But no matter how long you have practiced it and no matter how difficult overriding this tendency might seem, it can be done. You can override this negative psychological tendency and this need and even get rid of this harmful habit. It absolutely can be done, and there are two very simple ways you can do this: by using introspection and mindfulness. When practiced consistently, the in-out method can help you significantly. There is absolutely no doubt about the fact that this method can help. Numerous researchers have proved the efficacy of these strategies. Even a quick Google search will show you the truth of this matter. The point is, the method works. That said, there are 3 things I want you to take note of to make this method truly effective for yourself. So to make the in-out method truly effective for yourself, take note of these 3 things. Firstly, in case you're worried about how this impacts kindness, remember that just because you stop being a people pleaser does not mean that you start being a jerk. like I mentioned last time, people-pleasing and kindness are two very different things. So do not let any mistaken beliefs about kindness being the same thing as people-pleasing keep you stuck in that negative feedback loop. You can be considerate and kind without being a people-pleaser. In fact, not being a people-pleaser can actually help you to get better at being considerate, especially when it comes to being considerate and kind with yourself and even the people that really matter to you. So that's the first thing you need to take note of. The second thing is that you should not be fooled by the simplicity of the two strategies you learned about today. They might seem simple, and they are simple, but they are also effective. If anything, their simplicity is a big part of their effectiveness, since complicated methods and approaches often fail due to their complexity. And lastly, the third thing that you should take note of is the fact that the key to the effectiveness of the in-out method is consistency in practice. The more you practice these two things, the better you will get at them, and the easier it will become for you to override the negative habit of people-pleasing. The really good news, though, is that with consistent practice of these two things of the in-out method, after a while you will become so good at spotting and dealing with this tendency that it will become second nature for you. Then at some point, you can even override this negative programming completely, since your mind will learn that it is not the best option for you, and you will create new neural pathways and feedback loops. You can literally rewire your mind, your brain, to completely override the need for people-pleasing. You really literally can. But consistency is key for that. As for what you can do next, here are 4 tips for you to get the most out of the in-out method. First, try the in-out method out for the next 30 days. Give it a real shot to genuinely benefit from it, and at least try it out for 30 days. Number 2, keep a written log, as that will help you to stay on track and can also be a useful way for you to see your progress. And that can be very motivational later on. So that's the second tip. The third tip is for you to set aside a specific time in the day to practice this. Having a specific time in the day can help you to make this practice a habit, and can also make it easy for you to stick to the practice. First thing in the morning usually works best. And the fourth tip is to set a daily alarm to remind yourself to practice this. In fact, you can do it right now. As I mentioned before, consistency really is key. And the more you practice the in-out method, the better you will get at it, and the more benefits you will reap. Give it a shot. Try this out for 30 days and then let me know how you get on. I'd love to hear about how you get on with it and how it positively impacts your life. Here's the bottom line. Being a people pleaser is a very harmful habit. It can cause all sorts of internal and external problems, and can have a significant negative impact on the overall quality of your life. The habit of people-pleasing casts a dark shadow on pretty much every area of your life. However, even if you have been a people-pleaser for a really long time, or even if you're not very good at spotting this tendency within yourself, you can overcome this negative behavioral pattern. You can override the negative psychological need for pleasing others. In fact, there are very simple strategies that you can use to override this negative programming, and the more you practice them, the better you will get at not being a people pleaser. Not being a people pleaser has lots of positive benefits, can have a significant impact on the quality of your life, and can even magnify your capacity to improve your own life and that of others. And the sooner you get started on overriding this negative programming, the better. Get started today and become someone who does not let people pleasing impact their life. Try the in-out method out for at least 30 days and then let me know how it worked for you. So that's it for today. I hope you found this talk useful. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with others who may also find it useful. As always, it has been a pleasure talking with you guys. I'll catch you all again next week. Until then, look after yourselves and have a great week.